Star Wars as a franchise has been around for donkey's years, and it is a behemoth. It's untouchable. It cannot be overtaken. Until this film came out, and this film effectively, near enough, destroyed the Star Wars franchise. Well, it wasn't until thanks to this person came along. No, not that person, this person. That's him, Baby Yoda. You all love him. He's the person that saved Star Wars. But what was wrong with this film that was so bad that it nearly destroyed Star Wars? Well, let's find out.
Solo, a Star Wars story, or simply called Solo, is a 2018 American space western film centering on the Star Wars character Han Solo. The film tells us a possible origin story for Han Solo, the lovable rogue we all come to know and love in the Star Wars trilogy, on how he came to meet Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, and gets hold of the Millennium Falcon. When the film was released, it did get quite favourable reviews from critics who praised the film's cast, especially Danny Glover's portrayal of Lando Calrissian. They also praised its visuals, its musical score and its action series, while some actually criticised its storyline and screenplay. It is also the very first Star Wars film to be considered a box office bomb, and it is the lowest grossing live action film in the entire franchise. So what was actually wrong with the film? Well, let's find out as we discuss 10 things wrong with Solo.
Number 10. Han's too good. In the original Star Wars, Han Solo, he's a mercenary. He's out for himself and that's it. He's quite a selfish character. And he does get this character change throughout the whole 3 films. So in this film, you'd expect him to be a bit like that. And yet he wasn't. He was good. He was the Han Solo from Return of the Jedi without the rest of the story. You start off, he always was good straight away. No, I wanted him to either start off good and just bear into badness or something else, but the fact that he was a good boy all the way through didn't quite sit well with me. Number 9. Style of film. The thing with Star Wars is they're too scared to try something else. It's a Star Wars film, so it has to be a film about war, end of. And they can't seem to take risks with it. Now, I said this in my video about Star Wars Episode 2, where that could have actually been a different style of film, but they didn't. This could have done it as well. Instead of being a space western style story, it could have been more of an Ocean's 11 style story. And that would have worked, pulling off the ultimate heist, but with a twist. It would have been brilliant, it would have worked. It had the characters to pull it off. In fact, the last 20 minutes of this film has something like that. But why couldn't you have expanded on that? Still have the beginning parts of the film, and then when they're doing their ultimate heist, do it as like an Ocean's 11 style heist. It would have been brilliant. It would have been made fantastic viewing. But that's not what we got. We got a stereotypical Star Wars film. Number 8. Last name. Han Solo. You all know his name. You all love his name. So how did he get the last name? Well, in this film, just off a whim from an Imperial officer, Solo. Really? Now, at least the books actually said he came from a family called Solo, who were also an offshoot of the royal family as well. So there was more to his backstory, but the facts aren't. No, some bloke just typed in Solo to get his last name. He would have had a last name to start with. No, that was appalling. So the books, even though they're not canon anymore, did better. Like the next thing. Number 7, Naval Career. Something else from the what's now called the Star Wars Legend, which was canon up until The Force Awakens came out, was the fact that Han Solo was an Imperial officer. Yeah. And there's things in Star Wars that actually coincide with that. He knows the bits and bobs about how the Imperial fleet work. He would have only known that if he was actually an officer in the Imperial fleet. But in this film, no, he got kicked out because of an attitude problem. Although that is believable, he should have got all the way in. I mean, it would have been cool to see Han Solo in an Imperial officer's uniform. That would have been brilliant. I was actually looking forward to actually seeing Han Solo on a Star Destroyer's bridge. That would have been an iconic cinematic view, which we were robbed of. Number 6, bad disguises. When they're talking about planning their attack on the mines of Kessel to try and steal stuff, they say Crimson Dawn cannot be anything to do with it whatsoever. That's understandable and that's believable. So what do Crimson Dawn do? They send in one of the high-ranking officials who has a tattoo on her wrist. Everyone would have known her. She would have been seen. Technically, she's third in command of the whole Crimson Dawn. That's like sending Darth Vader on a secret mission. No, that makes no sense whatsoever. It's supposed to be all about deception, and yet you're putting someone, a high-profile person, in. One person recognises that the whole thing. You're having this war that you want to avoid. Number 5, dice. You know, in the original trilogy, Han Solo has those dice, and it's always bugged you about where those dice came from, hasn't it? No, me neither. Yet this film actually makes a big deal about those dice, which, strangely enough, wasn't a big deal. As somebody who actually nitpicks and looks at every single thing in a film, I can't actually remember seeing those dice that often. Actually, they weren't predominant, they weren't that big of a deal. So why was that big of a deal on these dice? Number 4, dodgy love story. I think this has come up quite a few times. Lando Calrissian's attachment to his droid L3. Anybody else think that was a bit iffy? Now, if this was an adult, an R-rated or an 18 film, it would have been fine, but this is a kids' film. So, see, I'm lost for words. It's just wrong. It's quite disgusting and disturbing. This is a kids' film. Hell, no, that was just wrong. End of. Number 3, face reveal. So the Cloud Pirates have been chasing the good guys, or Han Solo and his gang really, throughout this entire film. And when they're down on the planet trying to actually sort things out, they take the mask off. The music's suspenseful. Who are we going to get? Are we going to get someone from Star Wars The Clone Wars? Someone from Star Wars Rebels? A character all the fans know? No, we get nobody. Was anybody else really disappointed with that face reveal? This film makes big deals of nothing. Hell, at least put Warwick Davis as the main character. We all know who he is. But no. It was a build-up with a very poor payoff. Again. Number 2, starting the rebellion. Again. Towards the end of Star Wars Episode 3, there are little seeds of the rebellion starting after the Emperor's taken over. So you know it started. It started doing enough straight away. Yet this film actually says, we're going to start the rebellion here. What, there's a second rebellion? At least make some sense of saying, we're going to support the rebellion, the existing rebellion. It's already there, but no, it's... Did the writers of this film actually watch anything else? They just like, let's make a Han Solo story without actually watching any Star Wars. Number 1, life debt. Have you ever wondered why Chewbacca is so loyal to Han Solo, even though he is a bit of a mess up a lot of the time? Well, it's because Chewbacca owes Han Solo a life debt. Except that didn't happen in this film. It was wrong. It's just, it was missing. There's no life debt at all in this film. And no, it was... I think they wasted and ruined the beginning of their friendship at all. It started off with a life debt, which was paid off. That would have made a more interesting story than what we got. Final thoughts. Strangely enough, watching this film, I did find it kind of boring, so much so, I had to watch it as a 2-parter because I turned it off, went and did other things and came back to watch the other half. I don't know why, to me this does not feel like Star Wars. It feels like a stereotypical sci-fi film that they've just stuck on the sci-fi brand and changed some of the characters around. To me, it doesn't feel like Star Wars, it doesn't feel like it's set in the same universe. Now, lately you've had The Mandalorian, which is set in the same universe, but you get that impression, that feel, the tone on everything is Star Wars. Even though, except for Season 2, there isn't actually that much from the original film series. And that's what we were looking for. That's what this film is missing, is it didn't feel Star Wars. Now, granted, the special effects were brilliant. The acting was brilliant. Lando Calrissian, Danny Glover's performance was awesome. It was perfect. It was like Billy D. Williams was still playing Lando Calrissian. That's how good Danny Glover was. Granted, there was some issues with Emilia Clarke playing Cora, but other than that, it was okay. Darth Maul coming back was a brilliant, nice little Easter egg. There's a lot of things good with the film. It's just, yes, the story is a bit flat. It's probably the best way I would describe it. Yeah. Now, someone who likes sci-fi, someone who loves Star Wars, I was kind of let down by this film, and it pains me to do this. What am I going to rank this? Well, other than the story, the film looks good, and that's a good thing, but you can't have a good looking film without a good story. It's quite a hard one to rank. I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to be sick. I feel really bad. Anyway, that's my opinion. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Which you probably don't. You're probably going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. If you do, put it in the comments below. If you are going to say I'm wrong, at least put your rating out of 10 in the comments. That would be great. I can try and keep an average of what people think other than what I'd think. If you want to get in touch with me, just search me up at Berryman81. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. I'm now on TikTok as well. Avoid that one. On to next week. We are going to be driving some fast cars furiously. There's a clue for you. Until then, I will see you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.